Very good morning. I am pleased to present my research, which explores how Malaysian public higher education institutions can foster stronger learning organizations through ethical leadership and Islamic work ethics by examining psychological safety as a key moderator. This study offers valuable insights into creating an environment where ethical principles drive organizational learning and development. The findings provide practical solutions for Malaysian public higher education institutions, PHEI, to enhance their learning capabilities and ensure institutional development and sustainability. My research is grounded in three critical challenges facing Malaysian public universities. The first is our rapidly evolving educational landscape, where global recognition and sustainability have become paramount, as outlined in our Higher Education Blueprint 2015 to 2025. Second, we're seeing a concerning misalignment between sustainability goals and human resource strategies in our institutions. Finally, while PHEIs must function as learning organizations to meet these challenges, research shows that success fundamentally depends on ethical practices and high moral standards. This background highlights the urgent need to examine how ethical leadership and Islamic work ethics can strengthen our public universities as learning organizations. Our comprehensive literature review revealed several significant research gaps. First, learning organization studies in Malaysia have predominantly focused on business sectors, with limited attention to public higher education institutions, creating a contextual gap. Second, while transformational leadership is well researched, ethical leadership remains understudied in learning organizations despite scholars recommending its exploration. Third, although Islamic work ethics has been theoretically linked to learning organizations, empirical evidence is lacking in Malaysian public universities. Finally, psychological safety's moderating role in ethical leadership, Islamic work ethics, and learning organizations remain untested despite its proven benefits for knowledge sharing and learning behaviors. These gaps demonstrate the unique contribution of the study makes to the field. Previous studies have identified significant relationships between our key variables in learning organization. Watkins and Marsick, 1993, established that learning organizations enhance capabilities, attitudes, and performance through 7 key dimensions, from continuous learning to strategic leadership. Brown et al., 2005, demonstrated that ethical leadership, through role modeling and ethical behavior management, promotes knowledge sharing and organizational learning. Ali's, 1988, work showed that Islamic work ethics influence job satisfaction and knowledge sharing behavior through 7 dimensions, including religiousness and work obligation. Edmondson, 1999, found psychological safety enhances learning behavior and innovation by creating an environment where people feel safe to take risks and share knowledge. The research framework is grounded in 2 fundamental theories, social learning theory and the theory of moral development, and synthesizes key findings from existing literature. Social learning theory supports the relationship between ethical leadership and learning organization, suggesting that people learn through observing and imitating behaviors. The literature confirms this through its impact on organizational trust, knowledge sharing, and group ethical conduct. The relationship between Islamic work ethics and learning organizations is anchored in the theory of moral development, which focuses on how moral reasoning influences organizational behavior. Research shows that IWE promotes knowledge sharing and contributes to the ethical culture necessary for learning organizations. Extensive evidence supports psychological safety's moderating role, showing that it enhances learning outcomes and mediates relationships between quality interactions and learning behaviors. This framework provides a theoretical foundation for understanding how ethical leadership and Islamic work ethics influence learning organizations moderated by psychological safety. This study employs a quantitative, cross-sectional design using questionnaires distributed to administrative staff at 2 public comprehensive universities in Klang Valley, UITM and UIAM. Using stratified random sampling, we collected data from 303 respondents, exceeding the minimum required sample of 265. The study utilizes established instruments: Brown's Ethical Leadership Scale, Ali's Islamic Work Ethics Scale, Edmondson's Psychological Safety Scale, and Watkins and Marsick's Learning Organization Scale. Data analysis was conducted using SPSS for preparation and AMOS for structural equation modeling, including CFA, path analysis, and multi-group analysis for moderating effects. The study presents a clear alignment across its research framework. Our research questions examine 4 key relationships: the effects of ethical leadership and Islamic work ethics on learning organizations, and the moderating role of psychological safety in these relationships. These questions are directly translated into research objectives that aim to empirically examine these relationships in Malaysian higher education institution. Subsequently, 4 hypotheses were developed to test these relationships. H1 and H2 propose positive effects of ethical leadership and Islamic work ethics, respectively, while H3 and H4 posit psychological safety's moderating role in these relationships. Let me present the first part of our key findings from this research study. Our analysis revealed 2 significant outcomes regarding the relationships with learning organization development. First, regarding ethical leadership, we found a strong positive and statistically significant effect on learning organizations, with a beta coefficient of 0.743 and a p-value less than 0.001. This substantial finding supports our first hypothesis and aligns with previous studies suggesting that ethical leadership plays a crucial role in fostering learning organization culture through trust-building and knowledge-sharing behaviors. However, our results showed a different picture when examining Islamic work ethics. While there was a positive relationship with a beta coefficient of 0.152, it was not statistically significant as the p-value exceeded 0.05. This means we could not support our second hypothesis. This unexpected finding may be attributed to various factors, including the possibility that Islamic work ethics might be so deeply embedded in these institutions that its impact becomes less distinguishable, a phenomenon known as the ceiling effects. As shown in the structural equation model diagram and statistical table on the right, these relationships were tested rigorously using advanced statistical methods, ensuring the reliability of our findings. Let's examine the key findings regarding psychological safety's moderating role in this study. Our analysis revealed that psychological safety is a full moderator in the relationship between ethical leadership and learning organization. Interestingly, this moderation effect was found to be significant only at low levels of psychological safety, where the difference in chi-square values between constrained and unconstrained models was 8.614, exceeding the threshold value of 3.84. However, the moderation effect was insignificant at high levels of psychological safety, with a chi-square difference of only 2.383. These findings suggest that ethical leadership has a stronger impact on learning organization when employees perceive lower levels of psychological safety. This indicates that, as ethical leadership becomes particularly crucial in environments where employees feel less psychologically safe, ethical leaders can help compensate for the lack of psychological safety in such situations by creating a more supportive and trustworthy environment. This finding strongly supports our third hypothesis regarding the moderating role of psychological safety. Our findings reveal 3 key areas of discussion regarding the relationships with learning organization. First, ethical leadership shows strong positive impact on learning organization in Malaysian public higher education institution, demonstrating its effectiveness compared to traditional transformational leadership approaches. The results highlight its crucial role in higher education context, particularly in establishing ethical and moral foundations for organizational learning. Second, the non-significant relationship between Islamic work ethics and learning organization can be explained through several perspectives: the normalization or ceiling effect in Malaysian Islamic institutions, measurement limitations in capturing the construct's complexity, multi-level theory considerations, and contextual factors influencing this relationship. Third, psychological safety demonstrates significant moderation effects, particularly as a full moderator with specific boundary conditions. Interestingly, its effect is stronger when psychological safety is low, suggesting its critical role in compensating for environments where employees feel less secure in their learning behaviors. These findings contribute to our understanding of how these factors interact to influence learning organization development in Malaysian PHEIs. This study offers 5 key theoretical contributions. First, it contextualizes learning organization theory in Malaysian public higher education institutions, extending understanding beyond traditional Western business settings. Second, it demonstrates the significant influence of ethical leadership on learning organizations, enriching the literature on leadership and organizational learning. Third, it establishes psychological safety as a crucial moderator, particularly effective under low psychological safety conditions. Fourth, it provides cultural insights through the unexpected non-significant relationship between Islamic work ethics and learning organizations. Finally, it bridges theory and practice by demonstrating how learning organization principles can be effectively implemented in public educational institutions. These contributions advance our understanding of learning organizations in non-Western educational contexts. Based on our findings, I propose practical recommendations in two key areas. For leadership development, institutions should implement ethical leadership training programs, revise performance evaluation to include ethical leadership metrics, and develop comprehensive codes of conduct that align with learning objectives. Regarding institutional practices, we recommend conducting regular psychological safety assessments, particularly in environments where psychological safety is low. Institutions should also establish robust knowledge management systems for sharing best practices and develop cultural integration strategies to bridge ethical leadership and organizational learning. These recommendations aim to create a conducive environment for learning organization development in Malaysian public higher education institutions, leveraging the positive effects of ethical leadership and psychological safety. While our study provides valuable insights into learning organizations in Malaysian public higher education institutions, it's important to acknowledge several limitations. First, we employed a cross-sectional design, which only captures data at a single point in time. The study was also limited to just 2 comprehensive universities in the Klang Valley, which may not fully represent the broader Malaysian higher education landscape. Additionally, we relied on self-reported data from administrative staff, which could introduce potential response bias. The cultural specificity of our study, focused on the Malaysian context, may limit its generalizability to other countries and cultures. Looking ahead, we recommend several directions for future research. Longitudinal studies would help better understand how learning organizations develop over time. We suggest expanding the institutional scope to include more universities and different types of higher education institutions. Cross-cultural comparisons could provide valuable insights into how learning organization practices vary across different national and cultural contexts. Finally, given the rapid digital transformation in education, future studies should examine how technology impacts the development of learning organizations in higher education institutions. These future directions would address current limitations while advancing our understanding of learning organizations in the higher education sector. In conclusion, this research provides significant insights into learning organization development in Malaysian public higher education institutions. Our findings demonstrate that ethical leadership plays a crucial role, with psychological safety serving as an important boundary condition, particularly effective when psychological safety levels are low. While Islamic work ethics showed theoretical promise, its non-significant impact suggests potential cultural normalization in Malaysian institutions. The study offers practical implications for administrators and policymakers, recommending prioritization of ethical leadership development and psychologically safe environments. Future research opportunities include cross-cultural examinations, exploring additional moderating variables, and investigating long-term impacts. This study ultimately serves as a stepping stone toward building more adaptive, innovative, and sustainable higher education institutions in Malaysia. Thank you for your kind intention.